Students of MTGOacademy.com, this is your Pauper Professor Jason Moore, and I'd like to welcome you to the latest installment of Dime a Dozen. We're playing a deck that I like to call Vehicular Manslaughter. This is a deck that uses the vehicles from the Kaladesh set. And I don't know if these have really caught on in Classic Pauper yet, but I have a blast playing with them. I think they're quite good still, and I've always been a fan of equipment and stuff like that. So vehicles are the next evolution up from equipment. They function a lot like equipment, but they also have some really cool aspects to them. I felt like this shell overall was the most common sense, practical, obvious shell to run with the vehicles to really test them out. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to be showing you hopefully some of the applications that vehicles have, and we'll see what their effectiveness kind of looks like. So vehicles want creatures, and vehicles happen to be artifacts. Ardent Recruit and Auriok Sunchaser are creatures who want artifacts. So it's a very simple synergy between the cards there. Now, when you go with these creatures that want artifacts, via Metalcraft, you're basically locking yourself into a deck that needs to play a bunch of artifacts. So that's what we're doing here. We've got... Sorry, my mouse is all over the place, but we've got 4 Ancient Den in our mana base, as well as 4 Darksteel Citadel for starters. The rest of the mana is just 11 planes, so we have 15 white sources, and we can afford to have some colorless sources as well, because a lot of our deck is colorless artifacts, and all of our white spells only require single white. So this deck is a mono-white beatdown deck looking for Metalcraft and using vehicles and equipment. So our early turn beaters, stage 1 of our assault, is Ardent Recruit, who works as a 3/3 for 1. Much of the time in this deck, we're running, I believe, 37 artifacts, so it's well above half of our deck. So Ardent Recruit's in there. We got Court Homunculus, who just needs 1 artifact, and then he becomes Isamaru. We also have Thraven Inspector, which produces an artifact and allows us to get some later game cycling value. He's also pretty good with equipment as well. The extra point of toughness definitely helps him out. Also, as early beaters, we have Flare Husk, who's not really a beater. He's more of like a poker, but he works really well because he absorbs edict effects, and then after he's dead, you get to equip it onto our evasive threats and our vehicles, so he ends up being useful on top of just adding to our artifact count. And then the last 1 mana duder is Vault Scourge. It's a singleton. I don't really like it in this deck. I still don't like it, but you can maybe mise other aggro decks, equip this guy up the wazoo, and start swinging the life totals. But, not too important. Again, with the heavy beatdown plan, we also have Auriok Sunchaser on turn 2. And really cementing things and spackling our artifact needs, or the cracks in our artifact game plan, is this newer card as well, Cogworker's Puzzle Knot. I don't think I've seen anyone else play this card except for my crazy butt, and I don't have any qualms with it at all. I mean, obviously it's a little overcosted for getting 2 1/1 artifact creatures, but what it does is it allows you, with any artifact land, to turn on your Metalcraft guys as early as turn 2, because it's producing 2 artifacts right away, which is very good. And then also, it's part of this package in our deck that just dodges all sorcery speed removal. So that activated ability you see at the tail end of the card, we can hold on to dodge sorcery speed removal. Same thing goes with the vehicles. If we just never crew them up, they're never creatures to die to a sorcery speed sweeper. Sorcery speed sweeper. they dodged that. So Puzzle Knot works in a similar way. So I like that. The tokens work really good as crew members, and they work really well with equipment. We also have this evasive creature package of Squadron Hawks, very great value threat, always has been ever since people kind of discovered it. It used to be just limited, a limited like cute tricksy thing you could come up with if you found multiple Hawks in your packs or whatever. But you know, once it took off in Standard, people really realized that this card is legitimate, and I think Skyskiff is legitimate as well. I've been saying that since the card was spoiled. I've been playing it in this deck as a 4-of with no regrets whatsoever. 2/3 Flying Body is just about the most relevant creature size on a flyer that we've seen in this format for a number of reasons. I won't get into all of them right now. And lastly, the Renegade himself. This is the big boy. He's like a juggernaut, a trampling juggernaut. Extremely good with equipment, and really only soft to Lightning Bolt game 1. I mean, there randomly will be some stuff that can get it, but he hits hard, and I think you'll see that at least once. You'll see that. Okay, that's the main deck. We have 2 welding jars as well to regenerate our Court Homunculus and other guys. And sideboard real quick, 2 Relic of Progenitus is a graveyard hate card, and it happens to be an artifact, which is great. Sylvok Lifestaff is going to help us against those really super aggressive mirrors. We have 4 copies of Journey to Nowhere. As you notice in our main deck, there is no removal whatsoever, so we're just on a full-fledged, all-in beatdown plan, game 1. And then afterwards, there's the distinct possibility that we may need to interact. So we've got those journeys. Prismatic Strands interacts very well with aggressive decks, with hexproof, with burn, and it's just a double counterspell or a double fog effect or a combat trick that can be very nasty if the opponent's playing a color that is not white. We've got a 3rd Renegade Freighter. This is for removal heavy decks that don't have a lot of ways to deal with this card. So if we need a little more resilience against controlling strategies, it's coming in. And so is Battle Screech, which is just another thing like that, very much similar to Lingering Souls in that respect. And that's a powerhouse card in formats like Modern. It was a powerhouse card in Standard, and at Classic Pauper, when you don't really have uncommons and rares, this, in my opinion, functions very much in that similar powerhouse sort of echelon of token producers. And 3 Patrician Scorn. Wow, I'm good at talking today, aren't I? Alright guys, you can see what the card does. It destroys all enchantments. Let's battle. Round 1 has started. We are on the draw, and our opponent, I believe, is mulligan to 6 with a chat box, which always seems to pop up in a weird spot or at a weird size. He's mulligan to 6. I think we can keep this. It is a 1-lander, but we have many plays we can make, and then with any land, we really set this off. I'm not going to lead on Thraben or on Ardent Recruit. I am going to lead on Thraben Inspector. Looks like it could be Dimir Ang. Okay, now that we have the Ancient Den, we are setting ourselves up for the Ardent Recruit to be turned on. It does look like, however, our opponent is either Teachings or Dimir Angler. So it's a bit of a weird call, but I think I might actually lead on Thraben Inspector just to eat up a removal spell first. It puts us in a weird position if he does just leave up counter magic next turn. So it's potentially a bad call. This is looking a lot more like Teachings. So I'm going to bait first with Flare Husk, and if he doesn't counter it, it's kind of looking like he has an Essence Scatter. I'm still going to end up playing the Ardent Recruit, though, because there's just no reason to hold it back. if the potential is there for us to actually get on the board and do something, pretty devastating. So he does have the Essence Scatter, which is a bit of a shame because, let's see if we draw land. No. So should I bait Bone Splitter first? It actually doesn't really matter. He probably has a second Scatter. So I could just play Puzzle Knot, but that seems a little weak. Let's just get in the attack. I think he's going to counter the Thraben Inspector, but we'll see. I totally missed whatever train of thought I was on before this. It kind of sucks that we gave him value out of the Essence Scatter when it looks like he doesn't have a lot else going on. He could have Echoing Decay, which would be bad, but maybe just to think twice or something, yeah. So I've played against this deck in the past, and we've done pretty well against it, actually. Not a huge sample size, but the fact that we have things like Puzzle Knot, which gets around his counter magic with the activation and gets around his sweepers, is pretty darn good. So here he's actually got up Counter Spell. So I think what I want to do is equip the Germ token and start attacking. If I equip the Inspector, it makes my Echoing Truth, it makes his Echoing Decay that he maybe has pretty bad for us. Oh, so he is going to cast it. Wow. Oh, Agony Warp. So that's not as bad for us as Echoing. And this lets us deploy some more stuff to the board. Now he's kind of getting ready to turn the corner. He's going to play the Radiant Fountain. He's not quite on Teachings for Counterspell mana yet, though. Oh, I thought that was going to be Curse of the Bloody Tome. So he's in good position. Chainer's Edict. We'll resolve. I really would like to draw land. Ooh, okay, he's got our whole board now. So I guess we're just probably going Puzzle Knot. There is Homunculus. It's a little bit worse against an Edict. He could draw an untapped land, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just flash back. So I think I'm going to resolve this first, even though it's a little bit less damage. He is only on one card, so if the Think Twice doesn't get him very much further into anything relevant, we're looking alright. I mean, we have 2 cards coming. Okay, he's flashing it back. Playing a land. So that last card might be a counter. Ooh, a Sun Chaser. So I think we actually want to equip and then play Court Homunculus first. And the reason for this, both of these are protected from Welding Jar, and we're actually doing more. We're forcing more damage and playing a threat rather than just playing a threat and not doing a lot of damage. The other option we could have went for was to leave the Puzzle Knot uncracked and then crack it on his end step. Okay, so if he just flashes back Chainer's Edict, I think the Servo token will go. Seems pretty clear he doesn't have a counter spell. He could have Justice, which would be bad. No, I think it's Chainer's Edict. No, it is Justice. So I can Welding Jar my, well, either one of these guys, really. I guess it'll be this. And I get to hit him again, and I get the Sun Chaser. Or I get the Freighter, but the Freighter's not really ready. So I think we'll Bone Splitter this again. And Justice is going to set up. I guess I could have gone Freighter. Justice is going to set up his Chainer's Edict. Freighter might have been better because I could have powered it up next turn. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. One of his cards is Justice. Okay. So this is interesting. He has one unknown. Yeah, weird. I guess we just bash in and see what he's gonna do. Ardent Recruit is also an option. Actually, Ardent Recruit with Puzzle Knot backup is pretty good. So let's attack and see what happens. If he just takes it all, that's gonna be strange. That basically says he's got mystical teachings. I think I'm gonna make him use it to counter this Ardent Recruit. Or he just has Counterspell outright. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now we have a bit of insurance against the Evankar's Justice because we can Puzzle Knot, end of turn, still get in for some damage. See, this is the kind of situation that puts him in a weird spot, really. Because the Chainer's Edict's not good, and the Justice is only okay. It's not bad. So he's tapped. I mean, he's not tapped out, but he's in a good position actually here. We are priced into blowing the Puzzle Knot because it turns off his Chainer's Edict for one more turn. So, and we get to resolve the Freighter. If we draw a land, we also get to equip. Okay, yeah. So he's actually in trouble now. He's drawn just a few too many lands, not enough card advantage. The only card advantage he found was Think Twice. We haven't even needed to break our clue tokens yet. So, like I said, this matchup can be pretty good if you get the right amount of pressure down. We have a couple cards to bring in, the Battle Screech, namely, and the Renegade Freighter. In blue-black, they really don't have a lot of artifact hosers. They, virtually have none outside of some annuls or steel sabotages. Okay, that kind of keeps him alive. We know his last card is Evankar's Justice. If he casts it, he's dead. So, he's going to cast it twice. I see. So that works. If I draw any creature, he goes to like 1. Actually, he could be dead here. It just depends what I draw. Off the top, so that should do it, right? Yeah. Flayer Husk, equip it with Bone Splitter, crew up the Freighter, and then double equip the Freighter. Should kill. I'm almost positive. So this is part of the real great thing about Renegade Freighter. It attacks for 1,000,000. And any creature off the top, for the most part, is just makes this a hasted, huge amount of damage. All the equipment we play just makes this ridiculous. He's actually going to attack for 9. We only need him to attack for 8. So I am experiencing a bit of lag, so we're just hoping not to screw up the attack or any of the clicks. And it looks like we did it. Cool. So that's game 1. We were never really in danger. We were always on the offensive. We still had some fresh draws to draw into. So let's see what we would have found. Yeah, Squadron Hawk would have replenished us a ton. So pretty cool. We hung in there against a lot of removal. So Vault Scourge is a threat, but I don't love it here. We don't have a lot of cuts, really. I think Battle Screech is pretty good. And then we want the Freighter somewhere in the mix. I'm not sure what we would really want to cut, though, because all this other stuff's pretty good for us. We could end up cutting one 2-drop that's not an artifact or something. Maybe even Court Homunculus, though early pressure is good. I like the idea of early pressure, so I'm not really interested in cutting any of those. Sun Chaser hits for a lot and dodges a lot of his removal, so I don't think I want to cut that either. I think we only have one entry, so it's either Battle Screech or Freighter. I feel like he's going to have more trouble with Freighter than Battle Screech. Battle Screech is still locked out by Evankar's Justice, whereas Renegade Freighter is not at all. So I think we're good to go here, and let's see what happens. He did mulligan to 6 in that first game, so keep that in mind. He keeps 7, and again we have a 1-lander, but we are going to keep it as well, because we have those 3 plays we can make. At any point when we get to 2 mana, our whole hand is turned on, so I'm not going to play the Ardent Recruit for similar reasons as before, but also because we're just not likely to hit Metalcraft. We would have to specifically hit an artifact land there, and he would have to have nothing going on. So let's go for the attack, and we're going to go for the Flare Husk. I don't imagine he'll have the counter for it, because he's probably holding Essence Scatter and Think Twice here, and neither of those will counter Flare Husk. So we are missing land drops, which is going to be bad, but he still has to deal with our board too. So for instance, Chainer's Edict here is not great. If he's playing Seagate Oracle, he's in a good spot. And I think he's still holding on to Essence Scatter, or just Think Twice. We are going to force him to play the Essence Scatter, though, because we have multiple Ardent Recruits to play. We're very close to Metalcraft, and if he's just flashing back Think Twice, then we're not too bad. The only thing is, if he has Swamp and Evankar's Justice, we're just going to lose, but okay, he has Echoing Decay, so not as bad. Again, we're in a bit of a spot here because he is representing mana for Evankar's Justice now. But we can kind of get around it, it looks like, either by playing Sky Skiff or more likely playing Bone Splitter and Ardent Recruit, which I think is the better line. Certainly not attacking and playing anything. Yeah, so let's go with that route. So now Recruit survives Justice, Echoing. Yeah, so we're actually really on the board in a big way. And, Justice is decent play for him, but then we get to attack with Recruit, play Sun Chaser. That turns on his Edicts pretty well. We'll see what happens. I'm sure he's got plenty of fuel. He's just got to decide how he wants to deal with this. So, I think we just charge in with the attack and see what happens. He could just be playing, basically, what is it called? Thing here. Agony Warp. It looks like he's just holding up counter magic, so I'm just going to sacrifice one of my 3 Sky Skiffs to this. And it actually resolves, which is kind of strange. So, mystical teachings for Doomblade, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Not too bad. I mean, Crypt Incursion doesn't do much, so it's got to be like a Doomblade or a Tragic Slip. Oh, Agony Warp. It's okay. Not too bad. Buys him a bit of time. He's not playing creatures, so it's not like it's going to be a 2-for-1. And he is gaining life. Okay, so now I'm actually going to equip the Germ and activate the Sky Skiff with my Inspector. I actually should have equipped the Inspector, I believe. It's debatable. Him killing the Germ frees up the Flare Husk, so that's a little better. He's going to take at least 2 damage here. In this way, I'm making him use the Agony Warp now, so that hopefully I can get around a counter spell. And he could be holding Essence Scatter. This would be the best opportunity to play the Sun Chaser, though, and he didn't counter it. Didn't counter either Ardent Recruit, so I'm just going to try it. And my intuition paid off there. He's got another Teachings, though, so he's probably got a Doomblade type thing. Repeal. Okay. So he can repeal the Germ token. So, yeah, we'll see about that. So his graveyard's kind of stacked. Here comes Evankar's Justice. So now his repeal doesn't do anything. We're going to want to play Puzzle Knot to get around an Edict, though. Actually, he can repeal that token as well. So Homunculus actually kind of saves us here. So I'll play Homunculus, activate the Skiff, and play something else after that. Probably just Puzzle Knot. I mean, he can repeal the token, though, which is not good. Maybe I just play a second Skiff then. Is it worth it to give him a free draw here? I don't think so. I'm just going to play a second Sky Skiff. If he has Edict, then Homunculus is going down. He's at 7, so... Oh, I'm sorry, he can repeal Homunculus. So I guess I should have played Puzzle Knot. So I actually made a mistake, which may end up costing me here. Because he's going to Edict this Sun Chaser, yeah. Well, we'll see how this goes. He knows about Homunculus, so I guess that's what we'll throw out first. Yeah, we kind of screwed up. There's another Homunculus, so maybe I'll just play both, I'm not sure. Whoa, what is this, Rewind? Teachings for Essence Scatter, okay. Yeah, we're in a bit of a bind. Do I want to attack him for 4 or 2 and get the Puzzle Knot? Puzzle Knot's pretty good. It's 2 bodies. I'm gonna Puzzle Knot it up. Maybe I should attack for 4 instead. But I'm gonna get the extra man out of it. Yeah, we're in a tough spot because he's got all this value to pull out of his graveyard. The one good thing is we force him to use his Justice without buyback. That is the one good thing going on right now. Oh, he's going to draw a card. Okay. So I think I may crack, if he just passes, I think I may just crack the Puzzle Knot, activate both Skiffs, attack, and play Homunculus. His ability to get all these Radiant Fountains back, by the way, has also been like really big for him. Evankar's Echoing doesn't really punish us too badly. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna do this. I'm not entirely sure if we can afford to play around anything anymore, so. I guess Justice is really bad if we take this line. I could attack him down to 1 potentially. Let's try and attack him down to 3. This way, if he just casts Evankar's Justice with buyback, I think he's dead. He just let that resolve, so... Does he have Crypt Incursion? Yeah, he's got Justice with buyback. He didn't do anything on our end step. I can't imagine what he has here. 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. He goes up 10. He goes up to 5. And then what happens? I'm really not sure. So, all things being equal, next turn I'm planning to Puzzle Knot, use that token to crew, use one of my other tokens to crew. The last remaining token I will Bone Splitter up and attack him potentially for 9 damage. What is this? Justice. This drops him to 1. Now he's Teachings for Crypt Incursion. He's going to gain 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 life. I'm going to make my play, attack him for 9. Plus he's going to gain the 2 from the... He's going back up to 20. Oh, Lord. Yep. That's what Teachings does, though. I'm not too... Oh, Echoing Decay only. No Crypt Incursion, huh? Interesting. Well, in that case, I'm just going to crew up. And we have the Squadron Hawk to follow. Echoing Decay, what is he going to do with that? So does he also have like Essence Scatter or something? Well, I'm not sure, but I'm going to equip the Homunculus and make him make a tough decision here. And pretty sure I can resolve this Squadron Hawk. I didn't want to use the Puzzle Knot pre-combat for that play I was talking about. I may use it now, however. So he could have another Essence Scatter. He can't play Evankar's Justice, so I think I'll just go here. Yeah, I think it has the highest upside if it resolves, and then all the other plays, if they don't necessarily like play around his outs, as far as I know. I guess he can't have Justice. He could have Fountain into Justice. I don't know. I think maybe that wasn't the best play that turn, the Squadron Hawk. Maybe the Puzzle Knot was. But it's looking like he's pretty dead here. Alright, he is. So we win, and this isn't the deck we're playing. I'm putting back together my Is It Ravings deck in preparation for Drake getting banned. But we won with that awesome hand, and we're going to conquer the land. So we'll see you in round number 2. Hi, and welcome to round 2. We're on the draw. I think we're going to keep this hand again. We have 3 or so things to do, so it seems pretty useful. We may be playing against mono white here. And I'm going to lead again on the Thraben Inspector. I could just play Flare Husk too. I'm going to go ahead and go Inspector. It makes our deck choice more ambiguous as well, as it gets around Mana Tithe, which might come into play. You never know. So it's really hard to say. Oh, this could be something of a mirror match. He could also be essentially Boros Kitty also. So be on the lookout for that. Unfortunately, we have to pass, and we'll have to figure out what we're going to do from here. I'm doing this because we're pretty far away from Ardent Recruit being set up, so. And he's going to bash. We're going to take it. And let's see if he plays a Skyfisher. Yeah, so he's. This will be a good sort of test of our deck, really. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Recruit. We see he's a Lightning Bolt deck, which means even though we don't have Metalcraft, he's going to have ways to stop this when we do. So trying to hold this back until it's a guaranteed 3/3 doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, see, so wouldn't have mattered. We're doing okay so long as he misses land drops. We want to start hitting our land drops, of course. And not quite there yet, but we are at Metalcraft. So something's got to give. I imagine he'll be hitting lands very soon. He plays more lands than we do. He's not attacking. Strange. I'm going to drink some water, so hang on. Okay. He did find a land. And we didn't. So I could just keep spamming Flare Husks, but I think I'd rather now start to try and get the opportunity to attack. So I'll do that. And he's pretty much squared away. We need to start getting our Air Force going, because his Air Force is going to be what really kicks things off. Now I imagine if he doesn't have a 2-drop to play, he probably should have drawn a card first. He does have a 2-drop to play. So if we find our land, we're going to be kind of forced to run the Sun Chaser, which I think will get burned. I'm fine double blocking an Inspector too. Okay, so that didn't happen. I think we're just sitting back on the defensive here. And this game is looking horrible for us, actually. So I'm fairly confident he's going to be able to run us out of these Sun Chasers. Though we could get Squadron Hawks with Bone Splitter up. Yeah, so that's not good either. Just take it all. Yeah, this is a pretty anemic hand for us. Never finding that second land just keeps us in the doldrums, really. I'm just going to concede a little early here. There's really no choice. We don't need to show him more of our deck. Hopefully he's not running too much Gorilla Shaman craziness, but he could be. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to want to board either. I think the game's going to go long no matter what, so Ardent Recruit might not be the card we're looking for. We may want to just try and win the attrition battle with Battle Screech. Renegade Freighter is not so great against a deck running Lightning Bolt, so maybe we'll just pick up some Journeys, get his core Skyfishers out of there. And that's probably what we want to try. We also might need these for a potential Gorilla Shaman. I think the Welding Jars are fine too. Yeah, let's try this. The Vault Scourge is actually pretty terrible, so we probably should have boarded it out. And we can keep this hand. This hand doesn't look bad at all. The question is, will I want to keep Sun Chaser back to play around Firebolt? But the answer is probably no to that question, because he's also playing Lightning Bolt and stuff. He might not even have an untapped red, so I think we just run the Sun Chaser out there. It's going to be a faster clock. Does price us into playing an artifact next, but I don't think that's such a huge commitment, really. So if he just has Boros Garrison, we're in really good shape. And assuming I don't draw anything that exciting, probably just playing Sky Skiff to power up Sun Chaser and attack for 4. He's in the tank, though. So I'm just going to drink more beverage and we'll wait and see what happens. Thraben Inspector into Boros Garrison. Aha! Called it. So I'm going to dummy check him with the, actually I'm going to go Homunculus into Flare Husk here. With the attack. The only thing he could really have is Gut Shot or Mutagenic, so. Well, our board position is pretty great now. So let's see if we can continue to get that going. I'm not even against running out Battle Screech if we get up to the mana. But next up is probably Sky Skiff. So he's going to remove one thing, maybe 2. There's the Bolt. So we still have a couple of attacks here. Namely, Inspector Homunculus. He actually cycles away the Secluded Steppe, finds a red source, so Homunculus might be down as well. He is. Okay, we still got plenty where that came from. I actually think I am just going to run with the Sun Chaser. And no more bluffing attacks. He seems pretty locked into blocking, so. Nope, he's got the Bolt too, so. Doesn't really put us in a great spot. But again, we still have a bunch of stuff we can do. 3 mana doesn't do a ton for me, but I am going to play the Sky Skiff at this point. And next turn is either going to be Battle Screech or Squadron Hawk, so not all too bad. He's going to cycle his Clue. Oh, he's going to cycle a land instead. Interesting. I think actually cycling the Clue is a better use of his mana there, since he wouldn't have had anything else to really do. So he's going to play a Core Skyfisher at this point, I would guess. Glinthawk, okay. Bouncing the Wellspring. So I get a Sky Skip attack. And now what? See, he actually would have been able to. He bounced the Clue token. He actually would have been able to cycle this had he broken the Clue and left the cave in his hand. So I actually can go Battle Screech here, but I can do it after I attack. So let's do that. I'd like to tap you. Yeah, there's a bit of lag. Battle Screech might be good here. Especially if we can get a Bone Splitter in the house. Then we'll be talking. Then we'll be talking turkey. So let's Screech. There it goes. Alright. Great board position relative to our opponent. But he's going to be building up. We've gotten through 3 removal spells. That's good. A deck with a lot of spot removal, it's natural to see why it might get punished by, well, he's just... Okay, so we got a lot of plays to make. I'm actually going to activate the crew. I'm going to equip, I think, 2 tokens and attack with 3 flyers. I think that's what I'm doing. Then again, maybe he has Electrickery. I doubt he would have brought it in, though. If he has it, he's going to use it now. Okay. Yeah, I think we just equip the other bird. He could also have some kind of shatter effect. Let's just see what happens here. Bolts the Sky Skiff. Okay. Bolts the bird. Alright, well I'm going to threaten with the other bird. And if he wants to trade, that's fine. I mean, Squadron Hawk's really going to hurt him as well. Okay. I'm fine with that turn. Gone through 5 of his removal spells so far. Three mana. Sanctifiers. Mortuary Mire, targeting Glint Hawk. I'm just going to F6 at the moment. Yeah, it's Sanctifiers. Okay, we get to fly over. Oh, Angelic Purge. Okay, that's not too bad. It's not great, but not too bad. I think we're just going to ignore the chance of Electrickery, and we're going to bird him in the face and then play more birds out of our hand. Oh, he also gets Glint Hawk now. So does he want to cast it this turn? So he has Glint Hawk and 1 unknown, and he is going to cast it. Alright, I'll equip and bash and then Hawk. Yeah. Let's do it. We're going to end up cracking a Cluestone pretty soon here. But we want to try and dominate the skies a bit. He's not going to like this. Though a simple core Skyfisher could put a wrench in the works. We'll see. I'm about to sneeze. Hang on, guys. Pardon me. Okay. Let's grab all the Hawks. I think that's seems like a good idea, right? Okay. So we'll pass it on to him. Actually, we know one of his cards is the Great Furnace. And we might be able to continue bashing. He's going to get the Mortuary Mire back. So we know 2 of his cards are lands. I think we're just going to bash. I'm not sure what he got back. So now we have 6. Oh, he hasn't played the Mortuary Mire yet. So I think I'm just going to play all my Hawks, right? I mean, that kind of doesn't play around Electrickery, but he doesn't seem to have it, so I think maybe I do go for the equip. I mean, to me, he doesn't really indicate in any way that he would have it, so maybe we should just go for it. The longer we wait, the worse off we're going to be. I mean, we know he's getting this back. We know two of his cards are lands, so he's kind of down on his luck right now. Holding back one hawk doesn't really thrill me. Because if he does have the Electrickery, I mean, I think we're just going to go for broke here. This doesn't seem like a matchup that really favors us over time. So I think the longer we wait, the worse off we're going to be. We might as well be a bit more decisive here, get the board position, and really try and make something happen. So we are going to put all our cards on the table, literally, and see how that goes for us. So we don't need to use the ability ever, and we will keep the ball rolling here. We'll say no to that. So let's see what happens. He's got the Mortuary Mire this turn. And even if he has, let's say, Skyfisher off the top, we are a bit interested maybe in starting to crash everybody into the red zone, but wow. I mean, the first thing I gotta do is try and equip, because there's a serious chance. Well, there's not a serious chance of him having the sweeper, but there's a pretty good bet that if he had it, he would actually use it before letting our equip resolve. So I think we're going to continue to kind of go all out here. He seems to be a little bit weak, a little bit flooded. He does have something here. Okay, he's got a spot removal spell. The Puzzle Knot on the ground doesn't do a whole lot, so I think I might actually hold it back in favor of equipping one of my guys. That could be wrong, but and we still have the Glint Hawk to get through. He's going to have to play his Great Furnace and then play the Glint Hawk. He actually plays Ancient Den. I believe he has a Great Furnace in hand as well, so I think we actually know his entire hand. He's given me the option of equipping my Thraben Inspector and attacking, which may just be the better play. I'm just going to offer the trade. We want to get his air capabilities out of here, and I think we'll kind of go all out next turn with the Puzzle Knot tokens, the Homunculus, everything. And as you can see, our deck does kind of look pretty bad against Electrickery, but so he did take the block. That's the third Glint Hawk, even though it's the only one he's actually drawn. So we have enough mana to do all of this. Pretty significant. And I think we just start alpha striking, even if he plays something like a Coarse Skyfisher. So I think his hand is actually Ancient Den Great Furnace, because I want to say I saw a Great Furnace earlier. Let's try and confirm that actually. What we need to do is get my mouse to work through all this lag. I'm just going to do this while I make him wait. Okay, so that was game one. Plays Great Furnace. That was turn 4. Then he played um, Glint Hawk and bounced. Now that's still game 1, I think. No, this is game 2. So that was game. He bounced Great Furnace at some point. He had to have. Yeah, so we know that his hand is Great Furnace, Ancient Den, and one unknown. I think we just keep going for it. I'm just going to swing with everybody now. And I think the game's over. He is a bit flooded, but he has a burn spell. Okay, that resolves. He's taking 6. He's got a lot of burn spells, apparently. Alright, equip again. We'll equip the token. Actually, I think it's better to equip the Hawk. He's not likely to have bounce spells, but if he does, better to equip the Hawk here. And we basically get to do the same thing over again. And Electrickery is kind of the only thing he could have. So I think he's doing a bunch of math. Yep. So we were really lucky that he didn't draw any more flyers that game. He's almost certainly going to put in Electrickery now. Prismatic Strands is a consideration, but it's definitely an expensive card that doesn't do a bunch in a lot of situations where we need to get a board position. So yeah, he didn't see a lot of stuff that actually would have been good for him. It seems like he's pretty decently positioned against us. So I'm going to take a sip here. Hang on. I mean, I think we definitely need to play around Electrickery a little more. This hand is not great, but I don't know that we can mulligan it. I think we have to keep it and just hope that things kind of start to turn around early. I'll start with Citadel. Yeah, that's a good draw. I mean, again, this hand is not great against Electrickery, but it's not horrible either. He's not getting super value. Cycles, so that would indicate to me he's a little flooded. And I'm going to avoid playing the Den for now. I mean, there is a slight chance he just pops up with Gorilla Shaman and gets instant value, so this way I think he can. No, he can't really kill a 1-drop with it, I don't think. I guess he could kill the token. And we have a lot of lands, so I guess ultimately it's probably not so important that we play around the Shaman. Oh, it's Ancient Grudge. Okay, so we definitely do not want to show him the Freighter yet, even though it's a better use of our mana. Actually, no, we definitely don't. We have nothing to really crew it with. He would need exactly, I think I might do it. He would need exactly Prophetic Prism, and then there is a chance we do draw a 2-drop, or a 2-power guy, rather. And then next turn we double 2-drop, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, so he has another Secluded Step. All of his lands have come into play tapped, and we haven't been able to really... he did have the Grudge. Okay. And I'm not talking the movie. So, yeah, we didn't capitalize on anything. He could have blown our thing away there. So I can crew. And this might be my only chance to. This thing attacks for 5 damage. And I also get Squadron Hawks. Okay. It's not so horrible against Electrickery, this line of play. So I'm gonna take it. And this is probably the only use I'm getting out of the freighter anyway. Ancient Grudge, probably a good card against us. And I think it's a card that, depending on how prevalent Kaladesh decks, themed decks, are, and how prevalent the follow-up sets to Kaladesh, or I guess it's one, the follow-up set to Kaladesh is, it's a card that stock could really rise a lot in the Pauper format in just a matter of the next couple months, really. So now we've got the Hawks. We're going to try and play around Electrickery if we can, but he's getting to a point where he's going to put a hurting on us, really. That Angelic Purge is a bit of a problem, too. So he's just doing this main phase. That takes a lot of the guesswork out of our turn, really. I mean, we would have been able to potentially screw up our own turn if he had given us the opportunity by, accruing that and doing whatever, but he's a little more interested in playing at sorcery speed, which, there's some benefits to that too. So, see what else he does. Skyfisher, which we have the journey for. Bounces, I think Secluded Step, what that was, or I can't tell, I don't remember. Well, I think I just attack with the servo token and then double hawk here. Or I could actually puzzle knot a second time and leave up, because all my guys are threats that can attack into his board now because of Bone Splitter. So I think I'm just going to do this, eventually try and force him to cast Electrickery and get my Hawks to basically hit the table unscathed. We'll see how that goes. I mean, he's also got Firebolt, so I think there's a lot of reasons not to just expose our Hawks yet. We'll see if that ends up being correct. I mean, as you might notice, he's down by nearly 5 minutes against us, so if this game gets dragged out for a prolonged amount of time, that could end up being a factor. So he's choosing to attack. He's actually leaving up the threat of Electrickery, which I mean, we're just gonna have to deal with that. Prism. Oh, that's what he bounced, right? Okay. Another Firebolt. Alright, so that doesn't necessarily mean he's not playing, he's not holding Electrickery. I think what I'm going to do here actually is equip with this. I'm going to play Squadron Hawk. I may even just go with the Journey to Nowhere actually, and leave up the other Puzzle Knot activation. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to Journey his guy. This takes away Firebolt as a valid play for him, and makes it really hard for him to ever do enough damage to get us in burn range. But that could change. We'll just have to see. And he's more of a 1-for-1 kind of deck, and our deck actually has a lot more 2-for-1s. I mean, he does have plenty of 2-for-1s, don't get me wrong. But in terms of his threats are one card equals one threat, where a lot of our cards equal more than one. We have 6 mana. So I think we can equip here. We can also go for the Flare Husk equip. If we're gonna do that, I think we want to do that first. The Flare Husk equip gets our guy through. That's gonna be a 4 mana investment. That doesn't seem worth it. Alright, I'm just going to offer another trade. And he's eventually going to pull ahead with all these clue token draws. I always call them clue stones because there's also cards called clue stones. I think that was from Return to Ravnica. Don't remember. Yeah, I think they were. Azorius clue stone sounds right. Yeah. Everything's a clue nowadays. Guess we'll have to wait till they release the new expansion set, Colonel Mustard. Alright, no. Since they're so infatuated with all these clues, we're gonna have a new equipment called Candlestick. It's gonna be pretty badass equipment. Okay, so he's doing well. I mean, this gets hit by Electrickery pretty hard. We've been playing around it all game, but can only do so much. Okay, he doesn't have it yet. May not ever have it. I mean, his Firebolts are going to be good too. What is a draw that like saves us? We need to start finding some serious card draw. The Inspectors might help. I don't know. I mean, we've still got some threats here. He isn't really... He's opting not to go for the Firebolt, which concerns me. That makes me feel like we might be looking at an Electrickery. Oh, Coldota Rebirth. So this is going to force us to really kind of go for broke and just hope he doesn't have the Electrickery, because now he can get fairly aggressive. We may also just go with Flare Husk here. Equip, attack for 5, and then leave a 2/2 blocker behind. 6 mana, I guess I can't do all of that. So I'm going to attack for 4, leave a 2/2 blocker behind, but he's going to Firebolt it. I guess we actually are just racing, because I'm just going to play everything out, actually. Yeah, I can't afford to equip with the Flare Husk. I need it as a body first. Okay, so he might actually pull ahead with this. Hopefully his draws kind of become more and more lackluster. He has hit a lot of lands, but his lands do stuff, so kind of hurts us a bit. I'm going to equip the Germ, I guess. And I wonder if we have Metalcraft. Oh yeah, our deck plays 50 million artifacts. We tend to have Metalcraft. Okay, so now passing the turn, we basically used up everything. He's still got 2 fresh draws at least, and he's got 2 Firebolts, so he's got a lot more action than we do. Cycling, so that's at least 3 fresh draws. He's just going to run a lot of this stuff out. This is Purge. Oh, Serrated Arrows, jeez. So that's probably what he's playing over Electrickery, and that will probably do well enough to put us in the ground. So he actually chooses not to attack. Curious. And that Journey to Nowhere basically does nothing. Guess I'm equipping the Sun Chaser and hoping he doesn't have Lightning Bolt. He's played one, so I guess we do this. He could also have Galv Blast, of course. I'm just going to attack in the air. I don't know, he's going to shred our Squadron Hawks into nothing, so... Yeah, this is so bad. He's got Lightning Bolt. Well, a Lightning Bolt variant. Yeah, this is real bad. I may just have to, I think I might just actually have to, Journey to Nowhere a token away. I'm gonna wait though. I think there's a chance we draw something to help us get out of this. I mean, another Puzzle Knot, it lines up okay against the Goblins, a Battle Screech. But at the moment, it's just, he's gonna Secluded Step and cycle it. Look at the tools. He still hasn't used either of those two Firebolts, so we're in trouble for a good while. Wow, he's using Lightning Bolt on that when he has Serrated Arrows and Firebolt. That's really strange. I think he's starting to maybe panic about his time. So at this point we may be gunning for a just survive the game victory. Oh, okay. Well, that's becoming near impossible now. Alright, Battle Screech. It's not Battle Screech. Let's see if he's going to let me equip, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to activate this thing on his turn. Well, he let me do it. I think it's not going to matter though, because he can still double. No, I mean it lets me activate it on his turn. So the problem there is that he's going to also be able to kill the Sky Skiff, but we just got to run it. I mean, at this point, there's nothing for us here. I mean, so let's see what he does. He's going to have to. Yeah, this is his only option, I guess. So we do get to crew, and then the Sky Skiff is going down. Our best draws are Puzzle Knot or Battle Screech at this point. Nothing else works too well. I mean, he should probably be drawing at least one before he does all of this. But he's also running out of time. Yikes. Okay, well this is kind of weird. I mean, he doesn't get to kill the Sky Skiff now. I think he's just making whatever play he can, regardless of if it's the absolute best. Yeah, this is just spiraling so far out of control. Okay, that guy can live. I think I'm actually going to suit him up here. Just suit him up with everything, basically. He's probably F6 through my turn anyway. If he's not, I can make him wait. But I don't want to make you guys wait. There's a chance I could just... Oh, he has to do that, I guess. I guess he could have done it and then F6'd, but... So I don't have a great block. I mean, I kind of feel like he's going about this the wrong way. I think he just doesn't know that Firebolt's in his graveyard. I think that's basically what we're looking at. Okay, so I'm going to block the Thraben Inspector, because Sky Skiff only blocks as a 1-2. I am at 5. Yeah, he just does not know about Firebolt. However, it's not going to matter. I think we're done unless we find Battle Screech. Journey does not get it done, so I'm actually just going to concede here. Yeah, this seems like a tough one. I think they're pretty well positioned. They go right over the top of us. They have a lot of removal, a lot of value that they can draw out. He was also playing Ancient Grudge, and they can definitely turn the dynamic on its head just by running out some Kuldotha Rebirth tokens and stuff. So we're going to concede, and we'll see you guys for round 3. Thanks for watching. Alright. This is the 3rd round. We are on the draw. We're going to keep this hand. This is potentially a pretty muscle-bound hand where we can maybe get the Ardent Recruit down on turn 1 and with the Ancient Den, and then do a bunch of crazy stuff after that. I mean, I could go Homunculus just to try and bait out a burn spell, and or trade with the Cohort. I think we actually want to try and trade with the Cohort. So as you can see, Den, Recruit, next turn we could go Homunculus, and that's 1, 2, sorry for the lag, and 3 artifacts. But he can put he can basically put a dent in that sort of plan just by removing 1 Homunculus at some point. So we're going to start with Homunculus first and offer a trade. Now, there is a potential to just take the hit and then try and get our recruits down a little stronger. Maybe we will opt for that. Let's see what he does. This is the more flexible option. So we can block if we want to. I think maybe I will just block at this point. We do have the second Homunculus, so I could block. Maybe I'll just take the damage. I mean, we're not getting through on the ground at any time soon, but with these 3/3s, maybe we are. So I think I'll take the initial 2. And there's a Vault Scourge as well, but it's going to be pretty painful. I think I may just go Recruit Homunculus this turn. I could go Recruit, but that takes away all my defensive options. I could also go Recruit Scourge. I think I'm going to go Recruit Homunculus pass. And if he has no removal spell, we're looking pretty solid. And here he's probably not paying the echo cost. The reason I didn't attack with the Homunculus is because he gets a block with these 2 that allows him to have a token left over. Okay, and he has no attack. So I think I kind of go full out here. I'm actually going to send the Ardent Recruit, though he could just be leaving a burn spell. So if I attack with Ardent Recruit, he can bolt the Homunculus in response. So I think just to be safe, I'm going to Scourge first, which hurts me, and it also makes my board a little worse, but it also prevents that kind of a blowout play. So I think that is what I'll end up doing. Looks like he may have a response to that. So we'll see if he does. It's possible. There's a chance that he does. We'll just have to wait and see. There's also a chance I'm just lagging here. We do have a decent amount of sideboard stuff to bring in, including journeys and strands. So he's going to respond by burning something, it looks like. And we're not lagging, or we're not disconnected, rather. So I guess I'll just sip some water and hang out while he sits around. Okay. He could also trade the cohort and the war marshal. I'm fine with that too. But this is looking decent. So long as we can keep our artifact count high. Okay, he just bolts it. We're going to have a stream of 3/3s against a deck that plays mostly 2/2s, 1/1s, and 2/1s. 2/1s in the form of Bushwhacker, pumped up guys. So Denizen, not too concerned with. He's almost out of gas as well. Oh, there's a Bushwhacker. So we actually are going to have to make some interesting trades here. I think I'm going to trade the recruit. Oh, okay, that's no longer an option. Geez, so we actually just have to trade as much as we can here. I was going to essentially try and keep Metalcraft up for these recruits, but this is way too much damage. I mean, we could leave a Vault Scourge behind, or a Homunculus behind. Actually, we want to leave at least a Homunculus behind. Take 6. Yeah, I think that's our best option right now. And then, of course, we gain the 1 through lifelink. Flare Husk is actually good because it gets our Metalcraft back. So I think I will attack. And he's already seen 2 bolts, so I'm not expecting a third to come out. And we may have just stabilized the board, so that was a pretty good draw, actually. We should be able to win this with Hawks, but looks like we don't actually get to. So, because we have the Squadron Hawks coming and another Ardent Recruit, and we're not exactly positive we're going to get an artifact, I'll just take the trade there. And now I'll just play both my guys. I think we might be able to kind of get across the finish line here. It is going to take a while to finish him off with attacks, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be heavily draw dependent. We're both basically in top deck mode here, but we have three cards to 0 at this point, basically, or 3 to 1. And every land he draws is just really bad for him. Yeah, I guess I go ahead and trade a Hawk for half of that. And I guess I'll start chasing the sun. And we're hoping that we just find another artifact which will turn our board completely on. So let's see if that works. Okay, so he's going to attack. We're actually going to take it this time. Okay, so I guess I Hawk now and equip the Hawk. He chose not to attack with the token. That was interesting. And I'm just going to pass, of course. Ooh, Sledder's a good draw. Think I have to just take it as well. And there's what we're looking for. So how many guys do I send? I think I can only afford to send the Sun Chaser. We gotta be basically pretty careful, but we may have just stabilized. I mean, all of our creatures are going to be, on average, quite bigger than his, so. So he can pump any of his creatures 3 times here. I'm going to try and trade off Ardent Recruit for 2 guys at this point, I guess. I can also just triple block. So if he has another bolt, let's try and be bit tactical about this. Another bolt, and I block with all 3. He still has to sack 2 creatures. Okay, I'll just put everything in front of it, I guess. And let him do it however he wants. I mean, he's at most going to kill 1 guy, I'm fairly certain. So I'll just put everybody in front. And I'll start with you. I think the guy I want him to get rid of least actually is the recruit. So we'll try and set it up to persuade him to not block the recruit, but we'll see. That's actually our 3rd artifact, so maybe that's not the best idea. Basically ruins our whole board if we don't find another one. Not our whole board, but makes things a little weird. Okay, so he sacked a token, and he has no follow-up. This is a really good draw. So now we can basically get in for 8. And we'll have Metalcraft forever now. It's basically permanent. Okay, and this is looking really good now. We're quite fortunate to pull this out so early because it gives us a better shot of taking the entire match. So he's probably just about out of options. I mean, even our Air Force alone will take him down. So, stabilized at 8. Took a few more hits than I would have liked, but he put us in a really tricky position with the Bushwhacker. That on top of the 3 removal spells. Okay, so that's game 1. Let's go ahead and move on. I think we don't want these. And we want to trade a Bone Splitter for a Life Staff. The Sun Chaser is a little expensive, and as you can see, it's a little bit tougher to turn on Metalcraft, especially after our boarding, because we're cutting a few things. We're also going to end up cutting the freighter, I believe. It's a little expensive. It leaves us with some strands, which I think will be good. And I guess we'll leave in one of our artifacts here. How many do we have now? We have 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 33. Still quite a lot. Of all these, the freighter's probably the best because it's still ultimately like a big creature. So let's try this. I think this is pretty good. We'll see if he has shamans or smash the smithereens or anything. But taking game 1's really good because even if we somehow lose game 2, we'll be on the play for game 3. So it takes that tempo away from him a bit. And again, instead of cutting the recruit, we cut the 2-drop just for curve considerations. We want to be as efficient in the early turns as the opponent is. So it's kind of what we're going with there. And now we're just waiting for him, so I'll drink some more water. Okay, so this is a hand we can certainly keep. It's looking fairly standard for a kind of hand we would like to keep, so we'll do it. Unfortunately, we can't really block that at the moment, but we can do some inspecting to start. So that tempo swing is going to be tricky. We may have to just play Sky Skiff next turn and try and get a block in. Now that he has the Raider, so we're a little worse off. We could also play Puzzle Knot and try and triple block. Yeah, maybe I'll just play the Puzzle Knot and pass. Or no, it's not a triple block, it's just 2 guys. So I could equip the Inspector. He's representing Lightning Bolt. Or I can play the Sky Skiff and Lightning Bolt hurts that as well. Huh. I think I'll just play the Sky Skiff. Either play between Bone Splitter, equip, and pass. And Skiff really gets hurt by Lightning Bolt. And ultimately, this one is just a little better because we still end up with a pseudo creature on the board at the end of the day. So getting hit with Bolt here will really hurt. I mean, we do have Prismatic Strands, which would help, but yeah, see, he's deciding, do I bolt this? And the answer was probably yes. Or he might just wait to bolt the Sky Skiff. However, that's not so mana efficient, but yeah, he's probably going to end up bolting it. Next turn, we're probably casting Strands. Whoa, sending in the Raider. He didn't have a creature? Okay, well, I'll trade Inspector for Cohort if that's what he wants to do. That was really weird. Okay. Deathspark to me. That's equally weird. Okay. Well, his hand is full of removal. There's no creatures in it. Very bizarre. I'm not even sure we want to cast Strands this turn. I don't see a reason. I mean, he could get Deathspark back and just kill our Hawk, though. So we'll play Puzzle Knot instead. And then if he goes to kill the Hawk, I can activate the Skiff as a response to that. His hand is very strange. But it's full of removal. Okay, so he picks that up. He may also have a bolt for this. So, or Chain Lightning. No. Okay. And now his Deathspark's not ever coming back, so that's even better for us. So now I'll play Hawk, Ardent Recruit, and equip the Hawk. It seems basically more or less ideal. We want to click yes on that. And once the ardent recruits show up, we're definitely getting more excited about this game. The fact that his hand is so devoid of threats is really a problem. And there's basically no way for him to turn off Metalcraft. We have 5 artifacts in play. Okay, so we've got even more stuff we can do here. I think I'll send a guy up top, and I'm actually going to leave back Recruit and Prismatic Strands after I play my second Hawk. I may even leave... No, I think I'm going to leave Puzzle Knot where it is, because the moment I crack it... I mean, we're still pretty safe as far as Metalcraft is concerned, but the moment I crack it, it gives him the ability to remove and start to mess with our Metalcraft potentially. That's not necessarily the best reasoning, but the Puzzle Knot also helps us against sorcery speed removal or sweepers. We always just have a guy sitting around. So this is going to be kind of bad for him. Yeah, so we'll just fire off Prismatic Strands right now. Saves our guy, counters the lightning bolt, makes it so he can't really attack. Frees up our mana. Sets up the flashback for later. So if he attacks, it's just a huge blunder. So now I have 6 mana to burn. I think I'll just go crazy in the air. Basically play my 2 guys and either crack Puzzle Knot or crack the artifact on his end step. The only thing we have to kind of be afraid of is Electrickery. So that means we have to decide, do I want to just burn the strands in as a combat trick, or we'll see what he does. If he doesn't pay the echo cost, then that's a huge red flag. Or do I want to save the strands for a rainy day? In other words, save it as purely Electrickery insurance. Or Martyr of Ashes or whatever. But Martyr of Ashes doesn't hurt us very much. It would hurt him far more than us. So, he's going to pay the echo cost. That, to me, signals that he doesn't have Electrickery. And if he... Okay, he has the land and the Electrickery. And if he attacks, it's really a red flag. So, okay, so I guess I'll just draw a card. Another Ardent Recruit is not bad at all. And 2 is even better. So we only have 4 artifacts in play now. But I don't imagine he can get rid of 4 artifacts. So we'll just keep hitting him. I'm fine with that. He seems interested in trying to get me to burn the Prismatic Strands, so now I'm much more skeptical about his last card being Electrickery. I'm more skeptical about it not being Electrickery. I kind of believe that it is, and I'm not going to equip anything. I'm going to leave that Bone Splitter where it is, and that is the game, and that is the match. So we went 2-1 here. Definitely a good showing for this deck in the 2-mans. We faced basically all known quantities. Let me rephrase that. All of the decks that we faced were known quantities. So it's not a case of us beating a random brew or beating something that was kind of untuned and being tested out. We faced some decks that have really proven themselves in this format over the years. I mean, these decks have all been around for quite a while. So I think that's bodes well for this new deck of ours, and I hope you guys will take a look at it, maybe give it a try yourself, and let me know what you think of the games, let me know what you think of the lists, and if you have any suggestions. I'd like to thank you very much for tuning in to this installment of Dime a Dozen.